everyone, and welcome to yet again another video where ESAM can make a response and make me feel terrible about myself. Just kidding, of course. I am making a tier list video, which actually inevitably means people are going to throw their opinions at me and tell me I'm wrong, but I don't care. I got my PGR card, which means I'm right always. So, given the new patch, updating my thoughts on how all the characters have changed. Not that there's been a lot of changes, but my opinions have changed, of course, so good to keep you guys up to date, to see what's what. So, we're going to start from the bottom up, like usual. We're going to look at the worst of the worst, the bottom of the barrel, the barrelist of the bottoms, the absolute trash characters that everyone hates and loves. My favorite of which, not even my favorite, he's not my favorite, but he's here somewhere once I find his stupid face icon. Ganondorf! I remember at the beginning of the game, everyone thought Ganondorf was going to be broken because his Nair had no lag. But that was about it. He didn't have like any mobility to go with that Nair. And he's trash. His offstage trash. Everything about him just bad. Little Mac, you are just barely above Ganondorf. Congratulations. You are not the bottom of the barrel. You are the second bottom of the barrel. Jigglypuff, you suck. You're terrible. You're god-awful. You got nothing. Dr. Mario! And, you know, per tradition, we do need a fifth character in here. I'm gonna go ahead and put in Milady. Not quite the bottom, you know what I mean?
You come to my channel, you watch my video without subscribing, you better sub right now or else your whole family's kaput, you feel me?
So the problem with all these characters, okay, they don't struggle with one of the following. Or maybe they do, maybe they struggle with all of them. Damage output's a problem, mobility, recovery, advantage state, and that's about it. I think that's probably the most important. Oh, and disadvantage, playing disadvantage. All of these characters either have everything wrong with that, or have one exception. For instance, Jigglypuff has, I guess, combos. I guess she has early kill potential, whatever. Ganondorf, bad in every single front, has good kill potential. That's it. So that's why they're the bottom two. Little Mac has a little bit of a newt. She's got a little bit of annoying factor. He's got a little cheat KO punch. Where he lacks in combos, he's got a little bit of damage output, so he's not the worst. Dr. Mario just actually has more functional moves than the rest of the characters, so he's above them. Like, I don't know, he may be super duper slow and his recovery's pretty trash, but he kills almost as early, if not earlier, than some of these characters. Oh wait, I accidentally put Ganon over here. You thought you were sliding by. Nope. Second tier list in a row, you're down there. And, I mean, seriously, I don't even need to explain. She sucks. That's all that needs to be said about it. We will move on with the characters that I think are abso-positively awful. Next up on the list is, of course, you know him, you love him. And if you don't, you've probably been cheesed by him. Lucario. The character's just barely functional. He just doesn't really have a nooch. You know what I mean? Aurasphere's fine. Like, I don't know. Like, his whole mechanic, Aura, is just not a good enough compensation. Like, a lot of his moves are pretty good on their own, but he lacks like any meaningful range, and his projectile doesn't get good until he's at kill percent. The character doesn't become functional until he's at like pretty deep into kill percent, you know? The only time Lucario ever does well in any bracket situation is if they hit forward smashes and if they hit back airs. In side B sometimes, but that's pretty easy to you know, avoid. This is also speaking offline perspective, by the way, in case that's, you know, important. So, after Lucario, it's hard to say, but, yeah, because now that I'm looking at a lot of the characters that I have on my pre-made list, they all look kind of mid-tier. Well, I guess this is the mid-tier section. You know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to remove this section and just put him here, because they're all mid, in my opinion. Alright, next character, King DDD. He is pretty trash. His disadvantage is really bad. He's really easy to juggle. Any character with even pseudo combos can put him away. His advantage is pretty good. Not even his advantage. Honestly, just his ledge trapping is good. He doesn't really juggle very well, but once he has you on ledge, he's got a stupid little Gordo setup, so that's where he shines. But other than that, he can't really win neutral against, well, competent players. Doesn't even matter the character sometimes, but having that disjoint and all the jumps helps, but not enough. Not enough to, like, you know, warrant putting him any higher than what he is. Next character, she's cute, and she's a dog, and she runs a whole town by herself. Isabelle, Isabelle, get it? Because her hair is a bell. You wouldn't know that. She's just diet villager in my opinion, which honestly even villager's not that good in my opinion. I think she just has worse tools. Like, she loses Lloyd and gains Fishing Rod. But Fishing Rod is only useful against unsuspecting players. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't function better as a recovery option. So you just lose Lloyd, and like side B is, like I said, a gimmick that will work like maybe once or twice against a half decent player. Other than that, like, her up tilt's pretty good. She's just to be zoned, you know? She's like almost fast enough to like counter getting, well, to fight getting counter zoned. But yeah, slanging rocks the whole game isn't gonna win. Her grab is pretty mid. It's got a lot of lag. And she's kind of light, and she's edge guardable from most of the cast. Like, even Ganondorf could get out there and kick this dog. Alright, next. I see a lot of this character doing well on Wi-Fi, and that's mildly concerning if you ask me. King K. Rool. Again, big body, same as DDD. His advantage is, once again, just a whole bunch of cheese. He's like DDD if he replaced his advantage state with a better neutral. And, like, annoying mechanics with, like, the belly and stuff. He's just nothing crazy. He's nothing impressive. Like, he's got some funky combos, but you just shouldn't be scared of him whatsoever. When I get hit by a K. Rool, I don't get scared. I'm like, I'm probably still not gonna die unless I got straight up forward smashed, or like I get any smash attack. If I get like cheesed by any smash attack, then I did something wrong 100% of the time. Most of his like neutral options seem pretty committal. He gets baited super easily. I'm yawning because I'm just trying to remember fighting him, and it's a pretty mind-numbing experience. Speaking of a mind-numbing experience, how about playing as Zelda? Am I right, ladies? Yeah, no one likes to do this, huh? You may have noticed I put her from the very bottom of the trash barrel to a little bit higher. I think she's a little better than what I gave her credit for. I still think her mobility is absolutely terrible, and any character that has better frame data or is faster than her puts her away. But if you don't have that mobility, you just get zoned and you're jump red, and you know, it's just like bottom tier min. That's how I feel about her. She has really early kill potential with her forward air, back air. Okay, all of her aerials minus nair. Her smash attacks are obviously super good. Her recovery's decent. She just doesn't really play advantage or disadvantage just because of the nature of the character, so you're forced to play more neutral with her. But she's not as good as people seem to think she is. So she gets put at the bottom of mid. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Arguably bottom 10. I think she's pretty bad. Next. Bayonetta. Oh, you're so close to good, Sweaty. You're so close to decent, not good. Let me throw that little asterisk in there. Her combos are mad good. She gets a lot of damage, and arguably struggles to kill. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think people fish for kills too early with her, and they kind of tunnel vision, and you know it goes down. If you can read situations really well, Bayonetta is extremely good for you. You have to be a very smart player if you want to play her at a competent level. But there's still the RNG chance your character doesn't work. And, you know, the nerf to witch time really sucks. You have to get that shit out really early. It's hard to play reactionary due to that purpose. A lot of her ground moves lack any significant range. And a lot of her combos come from the same moves. So if you just ignore a lot of that and just settle for getting grabbed in situations where you feel uncomfortable, she doesn't get a lot. Oh, she can go off stage though. That's one thing I forgot to mention. That's probably one of her best things, is the potential to go off stage. I'm kind of talking myself into thinking she's not quite busted, but then I remember that you just shield and you win. Kind of like Smash 4 Toon Link. Next guy, Fallen from Grace. Keep up the pace. Hit you in the face. Farth. He sucks, man. He's better than Bayonetta because he at least has moves that work. And tippers, when they do work, they hurt a lot. However, they're mostly inconsistent due to like just the nature of the way the game is played. Super bad. He can go off stage, which is fine, but it's not consistent where he'll kill you. He doesn't have very good damage output as opposed to Lucina, who I think is absolutely broken. His other little cheese factor is Dancing Blade, which is, again, almost random with how inconsistent it is. He's a super simple character. I don't think I need to explain too much about him. His advantage state is like he has the same like advantage disadvantage as Lucina, but he just gets less per interaction. And the opponent gets more chances against Marcina, which they don't have great disadvantages, so you naturally just lose more. And character sucks. I've seen some crazy stuff with these characters, man. Ice Climbers. They're a little scary, I gotta say. Once they get rolling, they can steamroll an opponent who is not quite ready for what's about to happen to them. But if you get rid of Nano, this character becomes useless. And obviously it's on the the player to make sure that doesn't happen, but it's very hard. If you just dispose of Nana, this character becomes worse than Ganon. Pretty unpredictable frame data with a minor disjoint, coupled with the fact that like the ledge trapping's pretty good, and the potential for 0-to-death combos that are already pretty hard to execute, which I think you can just SDI a lot of them, and they're pretty situational too. I feel like most of them, you know, come off of a grab, at least some of the easier ones, so the win condition is pretty avoidable. It's pretty slow. Next character I would say is Kirby. Kirby's been doing pretty well too, to my understanding. I know there's like a top player in Europe who did pretty well. I think he like took a game off of either Gluto or Leo. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. But I put him a little higher on my tier list this time around due to the fact that, yes, I did say he was super slow. He gets zoned by basically all of the cast due to his like lack of mobility and airspeed. He just gets kept out all the time, and even when he gets in, his combos aren't like devastating. However, once he does get the combos, he puts you off stage, and Kirby's off stage game is pretty annoying to deal with if your character doesn't have the tools of fighting it. For instance, down air will kill most characters at like 10, which is pretty nice if you're Kirby. It's hard to gauge exactly where he is overall because he has a lot of funky matchups where he can copy abilities and stuff, but that's why I put him a little higher, because that can help him. But yeah, his mobility, this is like the peak of mobility hurting your character, because he has pretty good frame data and pretty mid combos mixed with a decent advantage state. Villager is one of those characters that I would consider like a toddler test. And what I mean by that is if you don't know how to parry and you're at the point in bracket where you play a decent villager, you don't know how to parry, you lost. Sorry, dude. If you can't, you know, read 2 seconds, not even, like 5 seconds into the future where you say this villager is going to forward air or back air, and you just eat that to the face for the rest of the game, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's hard to lose neutral against this character, but when you do, it sucks terribly. Like, sometimes they'll forward air train you off the stage, and then you have to deal with tree edge guards. You know, he's got pretty good get-off-me tools with the nair out of shield and stuff. His grab actually combos into things, which is nice for him. But his disadvantage is pretty fugly, all things considered. Like, he has Lloyd to stall, which is nice for him if he's getting juggled, or, you know, he needs to buy more time while he's recovering. But it's not enough to make him good or decent or better than the characters that are about to be above him, such as Meta Knight. Again, I know I say it pretty often. Not really, actually. This is the first time this video I'm going to say it. But he's a character that I wish I had a little more experience against, because I don't fully comprehend where his strengths and weaknesses lie. His combos look good, his mobility seems usable, but his overall options seem pretty predictable, which make him mid, because he's only got like 2 good options in neutral, to be honest, despite having good mobility, which is grab and dash attack, and the occasional up air if you're feeling a little cheeky. You know, his ground moves aren't particularly amazing. They don't do anything except for just like win neutral, and that's it, no combo. And he can go off stage, which is nice, but his off stage game isn't phenomenal. Like, I'd say Kirby's and Villager have better off stages. I might even go as far as to say K. Rool has a better offstage game. I mean, his frame data does allow him to scrap, even with, like, top tiers, but it's not good enough. Here he is, Mr. Cheeto Fingers himself in Incineroar. He's a cat. If you consider this dude's hitboxes and, like, frame data, this character's kind of broken. He's got, like, top-tier frame data and hitboxes, but this dude's got the mobility of, like, a cat that's standing upright. Look at me go! Alright, yeah, his mobility's trash, his recovery's trash. Him playing advantage is pretty good until they go to the ledge, and then you have, like, nair. Like, you have to guess and get pretty lucky if you want to extend your advantage into a kill with Incineroar. Like, back air, like 100 or something. Every character in the game can edgeguard him. Which is why he's not any higher, because even these dudes hold him back. I'll put Ridley up here next. It's hard to, like, properly order the mid-tiers and stuff, but he's got nair. That's about it. When you think Ridley as a top player, you think, alright, how is this genius going to use nair against me? Because that's my win condition, is beat his nair. Because Ridley players are like, I only have one move. But yeah, overall, a lot of his options are pretty committal in neutral. He has to really put himself out there if he wants to get any form of a lead. But he gets edge guarded, kind of. You know, if you get... there's only like a couple angles he can recover from optimally without putting himself in a pretty ugly situation. So if characters have the speed to get out there early enough, they can edge guard him. His advantage is actually pretty good due to his hitbox size and his command grab. but his physical size and weight work against him a lot, because once he actually loses neutral, because like I said, it's pretty committal for him to play neutral, he takes a lot of damage and dies kind of early for his size, which is a bit of a crime. If they ever fix that, I think he could be not quite busted. It would be a huge jump for him. Next, Mucus. He's just annoying, man. You know who else is just annoying? Banjo. Both these characters are super annoying, and that's where their success lies, in frustrating you and letting you make the mistakes, but they have the tools to make you super annoyed. I don't really want to talk about them anymore because they're pretty self-explanatory characters. If you can't figure it out, then you're dumb. Conky Dong. Big monkey. Just kidding, he's an ape. He's big. He's the king of the jungle, but he's very large. And I wouldn't even say he's in charge. I mean, I'd say he's in charge of the mid-tiers. I think he does pretty well against bad characters, Donkey Kong. I might even end up putting him a little higher once I consider everything, but... like, there's so many archetypes that just destroy Donkey Kong. Super Rushdown, projectile camping, and honestly he does pretty decently against zoning. Once he gets in, he does a lot of damage, but every character can mess with his recovery. But he can like play advantage versus basically every character. He has an explosive factor that needs to be like recognized no matter what level of play you're playing against him. Alright, Richter. This is a gimmick character. This right here, he's peak gimmick. He is the super zoner of the game, where if you can't deal with his projectiles and you never learned how to parry in school, he'll just steamroll you, but you should really just kill him once you get him off stage. And if not, even him getting off of ledge is pretty hard. They have down tilt, but that's it. Again, pretty self-explanatory character. I don't want to go super into it. Robin. Oh, Robinsky. Robin almost falls into the same category as Richter with being like a super zoner, but he actually has scrap options with like his Levin sword that make him a force to be reckoned with in air-to-air situations. And he's a little bit harder to gimp. But other than that, pretty similar characters. Somehow, you know, it's kind of crazy. But just look at their kits. Just think about it and look at their kits. You got Junior. This is a character I haven't played too much of, but my character does really well against him, so my opinion is skewed. However, there are good Junior players out there who probably disagree with me. You know, I'm always, no, I'm not always down to talk about my opinions, but Junior is just like Diet Sonic, man. He just, like, is slower than Sonic, but is almost as annoying. Because his side B just creates a lot of mix-up and a lot of uncomfortable situations for people who have not been in them before. His disadvantage can be pretty tricky to play against, too. Like, keeping him in disadvantage is what I'm talking about. He's got some pretty hefty combos. His neutral is something to consider, and his advantage state is... He's literally just the epitome of mid. Alright, one step the middest of the mid, one step above, rather, is Corrin. The best thing Corrin can do is say, I win, after the match.
Corrin, win! I win!
Not that you'll get to hear that often because the character is just whatever, but very annoying neutral with this character, and the combos do a lot more damage than you expect. The hitboxes are pretty hard to work around, even though Corrin doesn't have like good mobility to contest a lot of playstyles. Really good at baiting. If you're good at baiting with this character, you can go pretty far. And there is early kill potential with the chomp move and the tippers and stuff. Up next, another fall from grace. He is the cutest of them all. Also, apparently from a Donkey Kong game. Pichu, baby! Why is there... I just got this sweatshirt today and there's already a hole in it. He just gets camped too hard. He has a lot of good stuff, but if he gets camped, he just starts doing damage to himself and then takes trades and dies early. But if that's not what's happening, then he's destroying people. Good players will camp him, bad players will approach him and get destroyed. He's got really good frame data to scrap with most people, however, he trades too often due to his small hitbox size, and that's what holds you back from being a little too good, Pichu. The damaging yourself wouldn't be too bad if you could just win neutral. It's cleaner. Here he is, the worst Link, in my opinion. A lot of people think that this Link is really good, Toon Link, because they play him and they're like, oh my god, he's so broken, what is my opponent supposed to do? Well, play a competent player and then say that. He's the easiest Link to play, and that's no cap. Toon Link, super easy, so people seem to overrate him a lot, but it's like I said before, the same as Smash 4, where if you shield a lot, there's basically nothing he can do. He doesn't have grab combos, And his best asset in neutral is having a bomb in his hand. And that's it. His up tilt is like his only ground move that you need to worry about. He's got a lot of mix, but if you're a competent player, you can just see through the stupidity. They try too hard to condition, in my opinion, when they're playing as Team Link. Or they just go stupid with the frame data. Well, I'm sorry, go stupid with the buttons thinking they have good frame data. A character that I think is kind of underrated is Mewtwo. I think even Leo would agree with this. I know a lot of you like to compare top player opinions. So there you go. I think Mewtwo is pretty good. His damage output is very good. His neutral is very annoying to play against due to his good frame data and very good speed. Shadow Ball creates just a whole new layer to think about when you're playing against him. And his double jump is really good for recovering. The only reason he's not like broken is because he's really light. And his air speed is slow. That's kind of the problem with him. So if you try to take the fight into the air a lot of the time, he's forced to do something a little committal. Or you force 50-50s with him, and he starts losing. Because he's lighter. Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt, super annoying, super camper. You trade with him a lot more than you really want. And he's kind of heavy. He's got like boxing options that don't make him completely irrelevant. However, he doesn't do a lot of damage, and he can get edge guarded, so he's not broken. Ryu. He's a normal cannon, but instead of being a glass cannon, he's just a normal cannon at the edge of a cliff. So if you gimp him off the edge of the cliff, he loses. There you go. His neutral's whatever. Next, I think is Hero. I love this dude. I love Hero so much, but he's not that good. You can't camp him. That's the problem that a lot of people have with Hero is you can't camp him, so he gets his buffs and he starts beating you up and then steamrolling. But if you could just like suffocate him, he'll just lose. Usually. He has some frame data and some moves to contest that stuff, which makes him mid. I'm actually going to go back into the list a little deeper in there, and put where I think Byleth goes. I think I put him a little lower. I put him at the top of mid tier last time, but now I think he's just like somewhere in this area. I'd say he's like better than Corrin, not as good as Pichu. His frame data is good, his range is really good, his ability to kill is fine, but same with a lot of the other low tiers or gimmick characters. If you just suffocate them, you'll be fine. Don't even give him a chance to start or anything. If you let him play more neutral, you're just going to lose. Rosaluma. People seem to think she's better than she actually is. I feel like a lot of people actually overrate Rosa. But similar to Climbers, but she's like a more functional Climbers, but without the second one, and she respawns, and the star respawns or whatever. Annoying range just like makes her like an uber zoner character with not a lot of ways to get in. And coupled with the fact that like she doesn't really have any good combos. And her damage output's just okay without Luma. You should just aim to like throw your body at that character until you kill Luma and don't think about anything else and then play the game.